Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another BDPA Tech and Career Talk. I'm excited to have you back here. I think 2 weeks ago we had our friends from Vanguard Consulting Group hosting us over and Hop In with Net Not America, a corporation, and today we're back in Zoom per usual. So glad to see some of you all for the first time since BDPA Con down in Atlanta last month. We had a great time. But we are back with our BDPA Tech and Career Talks. I am your National Tech and Career Talk leader, Devin Jenkins. I am the IT pricing leader for US and Canada at GE Healthcare, as well as the founder and CEO of Share the Vibes LLC. So glad to have you with us. For those who may not be familiar, BDPA is Black Data Processing Associates. The organization was started in 1975 as a way to continue to build up the talent pipeline within the African American community for the technology sector. We kind of have a two-pronged approach. One focuses around students, building computer programming skills in middle and high school students and providing opportunities for them as well at the collegiate level. And then being a forum for professionals in the industry to continue to develop their skills and network with other individuals. And our overall mantra is advancing careers from the classroom to the boardroom. So thank you for joining us today. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, thank you for watching and tuning in. These are our BDPA Tech and Career Talks. These take place on the second and fourth Friday of each month. There are a few months where we veer away from that a little bit because of schedules or holidays, conference. But second and fourth Friday each month, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time, we are typically here having these conversations. And they span a broad range of topics, speakers, career paths, but all tied to things that are relevant for those working in the technology industry, trying to continue to build their skills and develop their career. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for tuning in. And we're excited for today's conversation. Today's speaker is no stranger to those of us in the BDPA family. He's actually our BDPA webmaster, Mr. Jason Bradshaw. Jason, how are you doing?
I'm good, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, doing all right. So Jason's hair's got a little longer since I first met him a few years back. He got all twisted up doing his thing. But glad to have you with us, Jason.
Glad to be here.
I'm excited for today's conversation. In addition to the work you're doing with BDPA, you got some dope things going on outside of the organization. So we're going to get into all of that today. But first and foremost, for those who don't know you, just let the people know who you are.
Okay. Well, first off, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here. For all those who don't know me, my name is Jason Bradshaw. Currently residing in Huntsville, Alabama. By trade, I am a systems guy. I do a lot of virtualization, system engineering, and basically managing large enterprise environments through virtual desktops.
Good stuff. And how long have you been in Huntsville?
I've been in Huntsville since 2008.
2008. Okay. So Jason and I were talking. So we got a little beef. He went down to Alabama State. Rosemary's on the call. It's her alma mater as well.
Yes,
Miles beat up on him a little bit this year.
Don't bring that up. Don't bring that up. Don't bring that up.
So yeah, I went to Miles College in Birmingham, Alabama. So we have a friendly rivalry with Alabama State. And we always give each other mess, but it's all love at the end of the day. So shout out to all the Alabama State alum out there, as well as the Milans out there. But we'll keep it moving. So thanks for letting us know a little bit about you, who you are. Bringing it back to today's topic around revisioning coding and social engagement. We know coding, computer programming is a core tenet of the IT industry. Everything we do with technology comes back to zeros and ones. It's all coding. So tell us a little bit about your intro to coding and programming and what kind of got you into that.
Okay. So my path into coding was not the traditional path. So basically when I went to school, it was my focus was network engineering. So once I started getting the basics of PC repair and things like that, I decided that I had a big idea. I was going to go ahead and start my own business fixing computers on the side. So with that, I was like, well, I need a website. So I started tinkering around, and next thing I know, to build a website, I had to start learning HTML and CSS. So once I started getting into that, that kind of trickled off into other things, a little PHP, a few. I never really got into the depth of JavaScripts and all that, but I tinkered around a little bit, just enough to kind of at least understand it. And then BDPA. BDPA was a large part of just learning coding in general because once we started, once my chapter started reaching out to the youth, we started teaching Python and things of that nature with Raspberry Pi. So that's what really got me into it.
And no, you mentioned the youth, and this is definitely a conversation we want the youth to hear. What would you say to young people who may be interested in coding, or maybe they're not, but no, they probably should be? What would you say to the young people as far as kind of how to get started with even learning the concepts of it?
Um, that's a great question. So I would usually, when I'm asked that by parents or by the youth, I typically tell them just go to YouTube, just see what interests you. Find basically the whole point of coding and programming is to solve a problem. So if you have a problem that you want to solve, find a way to see if you can do that with coding or with programming. And then joining groups like BDPA, Black Girls Code, things like that are ways to get kids and the youth more engaged into it and a structured platform for learning. So I definitely kind of push them towards that.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So if you're listening out there, the information is readily available. I think it's pretty easily accessible these days. If you want to get into coding, I always tell people, quick Google search, hop on YouTube. You can probably learn something. I haven't taken the time to do it. I'll be honest. I'm not just, I've dabbled with like coding and programming a little bit, kind of starting out in my career, and I just knew it wasn't really my thing. I could speak the language, but I always tell people, if you brought me an app, say, hey, I'm gonna come back in an hour, tell me what's doing what in the source code. I could probably figure it out and let you know something. If you gave me a concept and came back in hours, like, hey, where's the app at? You're not gonna have one. So you gotta know your ministry. But I'm glad you delving into it, learn ways to make it appealing and learn those concepts. So kind of building off of that, how would you say coding has personally impacted your life and your career?
It goes back to my time, with BDPA and just mentoring the youth. I have a lot of mentees that I've seen progress and do great things. I've actually had a few of my mentees win a few or place in the BDPA conference with the app challenges and things like that. So I feel like uh, it's given me a sense of purpose, because I really enjoy mentoring and just bringing more people into tech because there's this big stigma on tech, on IT in general, that you have to be, just this big nerd, or you have to kind of fit into a certain kind of demographic. So I really try to break those stereotypes and really try to get people engaged and understanding that IT is just learning step by step, just like any other skill. So I really try to engage and bring people in like that.
I love that. Tech is a vehicle, for kind of getting to the places we want to go in life. A lot of people think, no, we don't have options, especially
Exactly.
coming from certain backgrounds and certain upbringings. And it's important to give our youth that exposure to
Yeah.
these types of career paths. We had a tech and career talk speaker a few years back, Jakim Battle. We'll have to bring him back again. But he started an organization, STEM is the New Black. And one of the things he does, he goes into these classrooms and he does music as well. So he's able to infuse hip hop, into what he's doing. But he'll ask them a number like how much money you want to make and ask them, what's the career path? And they might say, I want to be a rapper, I want to be an NBA or something. And he'll give them the statistics on how likely it is. But instead of just completely shutting people off from those dreams, offers technology as a path to still be connected to those dreams. You might not be LeBron, but you can be the statistician that's running the data for what LeBron's doing in the team. Or, you might not be the rapper, but maybe you're coding the software that the music engineer is making that puts the music together. So there's so many paths to kind of doing the things that we want to do and staying close and tied out to those dreams and those passions. And technology can be that vehicle and that connector that helps make that happen for us. So I'm glad to hear you say that. And I'm glad that you're being hands-on with the youth in our communities to expose them to those types of communities. So kudos to you for that.
I appreciate it. Same to you, brother.
So I think that's a good segue into kind of what we're getting into here today, which is around the initiative you started, Code.Sip.Repeat, which is really revisioning how we think about coding through the lens of social engagement. I think we're all familiar with hackathons. I think we're all familiar with happy hours. We're familiar with parties and networking mixers and music and all that good stuff, but you've kind of found a way to tie all those different things together. So tell us a little bit about what Code.Sip.Repeat is.
I guess in the simplest form, you kind of just laid it out. It's an infusion, a hybrid of a networking event, coding project, just social hour, all in one. So just basically getting a group of people together with some laptops, pull up a coding project, and we just have a good time. I mean, if yeah, I'm gonna leave it like that because I know some more questions you get a little more deeper, so I'm gonna leave it like that. But in the simplest form, like I said, it's a gathering of like-minded people who have a passion for coding, a passion for technology, and learning new things. We adding a DJ to keep everybody's head nodding. We adding some food to keep everybody fed, and we have some adult beverages to kind of make the vibes a little more bubbly per se. So once you add all those together, that equals a great time. So both the two events that we have had so far have been great. Everybody's enjoyed it, and everybody keeps asking me when's the next one. So
Yeah, I definitely want to get into those events. Want to spend a little time getting some context around the whole concept, though. Like, how did you even come up with this? Like, where did it come to you in a dream one night? How did you come up with this concept?
So when I was the chapter president of the Huntsville chapter of BDPA, I was always trying to think of different ways to engage the professional community here in Huntsville. Just one is a recruiting mechanism, and then another one just to get people together. I'm real big on just getting people together and having a good time and networking. So I can't remember, I can't pinpoint it, but it was before the pandemic. We had the idea. I had the idea of doing a code and sip. So I took it to the planning team, and we hashed out the details, and we actually had it set as a BDPA Huntsville event for May 2020. And obviously the pandemic hit, that canceled all of that, and it kind of got shelved, and we went more into a virtual virtual experiences from that point on, just doing a lot of things similar to this, where we just get people on a Zoom and just have a lot of different talks about different things with technology and things like that. But I guess in the dream earlier this year, I said, you know what? I woke up one morning and said, man, I'm gonna do the code and sip, and I started playing around with the name and kind of figured out a logo, and I decided I was gonna do it under my own brand and just kind of keep it pushing, and got my team together, and everything else is history. So that's how it kind of came about.
And that's so dope, man. Like I said, I don't really code, but I definitely want to pull up the one pretty
You
soon.
have to.
It sounds like a great time. But kind of building off of that, and maybe even tying in some of the things we talked about earlier with your personal connections to coding and helping out the youth. Like what's the end goal with Code.Sip.Repeat? Like at what point do you say this is successful? What's the ultimate goal or the mission that you're trying to drive here?
That's a great question. I guess in all essence, the goal is just to bring more diversity to the tech. I know, Code.Sip.Repeat won't do it single-handedly, but I feel like it can be one of the few avenues, or one of the just one of the, like you said, one of the engines that kind of help keep things going. And then just to have that light bulb go off in people's minds that, oh, I can do this too. Because a lot of people that come to the events are code newbies, are people who are trying to transition. We have some cybersecurity people who are interested in learning coding. So, this is not necessarily their skill set, but something they're interested in learning. So it's a broad range of people who come to the event. And I like that because it's not geared to just the senior or the mid-level coders or programmers. It has a wide range of inclusivity, if that's a word. And it just, it brings people together, and just with a common goal of just, learning about technology and networking and just having a good time. So to get to the root of the question, I'm still trying to define the ultimate goal. Originally it was just, I'm gonna host this event and see what happens. And now it's starting to, grow and roll into something bigger. And to the point where we were thinking about taking it on the road and, going to different cities doing it too. So and if I had to define success, I guess at this point, tangible success would be ticket sales. But my definition of success now is just to when I sit back in the room in the middle of the event and I just see the vision, the fruition of the vision. A bunch of people in the room with laptops talking about coding and laughing, having a good time. That was the success to me. So I would like to see it continue to grow, continue to get bigger, and so yeah, I'm gonna sum it up like that.
You making coding cool,
Hey, well,
which is super
I
dope.
was asked this on another. I had another interview, and I said, IT has soul. IT has soul. A lot of people think IT is black and white, but the more you get into it, it does have a soul, and then the people behind it have soul, and give it life. So yeah, let me stop before I start preaching.
Hey, I like that. Nah, IT has soul. Hey, that's a
Yeah,
caption right there. That might need to be the conference theme next year. IT has soul.
I might put that on a t-shirt, man.
That's good. That's good right there. IT has soul, man. I like that. Um, you kind of got into what I wanted to ask you next, which was, who is the target audience? And it sounds like there's not necessarily a target. There's a wide range. Sounds like anybody from students up to, executives or retirees could come into a Code.Sip.Repeat. So I won't ask you who the target audience is, but what I will ask you is for those who maybe I've never, touched a GitHub or nothing like that. I ain't coded a day in my life, but I want to pull up the Code.Sip.Repeat. How do you accommodate for that audience so that they can have a successful experience as well?
Well, I mean, to go ahead and answer the original question, like the Code.Sip.Repeat is open to anybody that is interested in technology. We do have some people that just come and kind of just sit in the back and kind of just observe. We have the code newbies that are fresh off, never coded a day in their life. They pull up their laptop and we walk them through everything. Then we have, like I said, the people who are either switching careers or learning a new skill set. So it's open to anybody. And what are the needs to come? Just a laptop and a willingness to learn and to to just learn something new.
Okay.
And like I said, there's really no target audience. Uh, well, let me take that back. So we do target people who are interested in coding, and that could be just people who are interested in, like I said, just switching, or and we try to make the projects engaging enough for um, people who are seasoned coders, and then simplified enough where we can walk code newbies through it as well. And then you don't have to know how to code to come to the event at all. And then the way we facilitate those who are just fresh off and don't know anything. We usually the last event and the upcoming events we held a what we call a beginner session a few hours prior to the actual main event. So that way it's a little more intimate with the instructor. It's more hands-on. These are some of the things that you need to learn about Python, and this is going to help you when we start doing the project. So we try to make it very, very inclusive and easy for people who are new to understand it and be able to follow along with the project. Because the first one, people said they enjoyed it, but then it was, well, this is my first time and it was a little too fast for me, or I didn't know what this meant. So we try to break it down for them to make it bite sized in the beginner session. So when they had a main course during the main event, it's a little easier to digest.
That's good stuff, man. I think one of the challenges we hear about kind of the entry into the IT space is kind of that accessibility to the skills, to those opportunities, and kind of being prepared to take on those tasks once you get in that space. So um, I think it's great that with this event, you're leaving it open to everyone. Whether you've been coding 20 years or 2 minutes, you can come and
Mm-hmm.
we'll give you the toolkit to be able to perform throughout the day with others. And maybe something else I asked that kind of gets into kind of the overall structure of the event itself. When we think about coding, a lot of people just think it's heads down, typing, getting lines of code together, but there's a lot of roles that goes into IT and getting
Mm-hmm.
programming together. You might not be the coder, but maybe you're a good project manager, or maybe you're good at figuring out budgets and resources or things like that. Does Code.Sip.Repeat get into those aspects of coding and programming? Yeah, I'll start there.
So the projects do have a kind of a purpose per se, where the first project was developing like a card game for like a fun night. So you have like the actual idea concept, and then it's broken down into smaller pieces to show you that by importing this module, it allows you to have um, different sets of questions asked for the card game. And the second project was based on creating a chatbot with pretty much artificial intelligence with chat GPT. So just showing how you can take a concept and break it down into smaller pieces and make it into a whole project that involves a little coding.
Okay. So let's build on that a little bit to kind
Mm-hmm.
of paint the picture for the
Uh-huh.
audience today. So how would you describe the typical flow of a Code.Sip.Repeat? So I got my ticket coming in the door, and what should I expect that day? Kind of how does the day flow?
So the day will flow. Usually, you're greeted by somebody from the team. They'll check you in. Um, then usually we allow everybody to go ahead and grab them a bite to eat as soon as they get there, instead of waiting. And then the bar and the wine are there available as well. So you can sit down and kind of set your laptop up, and usually with food and a little adult beverages, people start talking a little more. So we usually get that going, and then they usually start around 6. So about 6:15, 6:20, we start doing introductions and things like that. Let people finish up eating. Then about 6:30, we introduce the speaker, and the speaker goes into the project. And that usually goes on for 30, 45 minutes. We take breaks, bathroom breaks, and let people refresh their beverages and things like that. And then it gives the people opportunities to ask questions as well. And if somebody's lost, they get some time to catch up and things like that. So we do a few more breaks, and usually when the project is complete, we have kind of a social hour where people, where the attendees usually just meet and greet, and we have a little more food, a little more beverages, and then we usually wrap it up after that. So and then throughout the whole time, there's a DJ that's managing the music the whole time. So when we're doing the breaks, the music cranks up a little more. So people get their head nodding, and it's just a real cool, real laid back, and it's just a vibe. I mean, that's just the easy way to explain it.
And for the projects, are they team projects or are they individual?
It could be either or. We always make them in mind as far as peer projects. Um, so not necessarily a team project. Well, we haven't had one so far, but that's something that is kind of on the board as far as something to do, even like competition wise as well. So that's we've talked about it. The tech team has talked about it, but we haven't had an actual team project yet. But all the projects are geared towards either single person programming or peer programming. So we try to make it easy and easy to flow.
Got it. Got it. Cool. Maybe I think you already kind of got into like some of the requirements or criteria to
Mhm.
attend. I think what I like to ask and maybe just give you a chance to. I'll come back to that.
Okay.
What can we expect up next for Code.Sip.Repeat? And I see we have a question in the chat here, which will probably you kind of start touching on it. But we'll and if there are any other questions and you don't want to forget your question, drop it in the chat because we're going to open up the floor here pretty shortly, so you all can engage with Jason as well. But what can we expect up next for Code.Sip.Repeat?
So up next we're gonna host another event here in Huntsville. That's gonna be on December 9th. Um, I'll put out the information later today. But the next event will be it'll be based on creating a sports ticker with Python. So we're going to try to, since we're in the middle of football season, we're going to try to have the next project will be based on just creating a ticker with Python where you can have the scores rolling at the bottom of the screen, and also score highlights, things like that. So that one should be very interesting. We're looking forward to that one. And that, like I said, that one's gonna be on December 9th, and the ticket sales we'll start the ticket sale today. The early bird ticket sale today.
How much are tickets, just for those wondering?
Early bird will be $35, and that will last. I can't remember the date off the top of my head. Early bird will be $35, and then regular tickets are 40.
Okay. And okay. So you heard that $35 early bird, $40 if you wait a little bit longer. But either way, I think it's this decent amount to get you in. You learn some coding skills, which can pay you far more than that 35, 40 you putting into the event. And then get you access to some food and drinks along the way too. So thanks for sharing that with us. As I get ready to wrap up my portion of the questioning, I do want to ask, what would you say has been your biggest success story so far, and also what's been your biggest learning so far?
The biggest success I would have to say is to have repeat attendees. Um, you know, we do surveys after each event, And one of the questions, would you return? And majority of people at the first event said they would return, and to have 10 or so people return to the second event. And then a lot of people message me on the side and say, I would like to be there, but I have schedule conflicts. It meant a lot to me. It meant that, all right, it really was a success. And that was that kind of made it a success for me. If that's, yeah. So that kind of made it a success for me. My biggest learning so far is you can never plan too much. Like you think you have everything mapped out, you think everything is set and ready to go, and there's always gonna be two or three things that pop up. Um, it it never fails. You can never overplan. There's no such thing as overplanning. So just continuing to learn, continuing to be able to just go with the flow and pivot and handle situations as soon as they arise, is something I've learned. I've learned.
No, as someone who has planned events and plans events, that's part of the game. I get it. I know exactly how it
Exactly.
goes. You can plan everything out and just think things happen. You got to
Yep.
know how to rock with it, pivot, and keep it moving. So I definitely
Exactly.
understand that. Now you have some upcoming events. With this, you want to continue to see it grow. Now, are you seeking out sponsorships, strategic partners right now? Anything along those lines? If so, what are you looking for, and how can people engage with
Most definitely, we're looking for sponsors, especially once we get ready to start traveling. And to answer Misha's question, we do plan to move or take the events on the road. We are looking at maybe doing Atlanta in March, um, and maybe even Birmingham in late January, February. We still haven't set a date for Birmingham, but we're looking at Atlanta March 23rd. That's the tentative date at the moment. But so with sponsorships, that'll help us, travel and make sure that everybody's taken care of financially, because we got to pay people. So to help the team and me get to these cities and host the event, sponsorships would be greatly appreciated. And if anybody's interested in sponsoring, they can reach out to me directly at Jason at Code.Sip.Repeat.com. That's JASON@CODESIPREPEAT.com. And we have a sponsorship package that we can send and negotiate and talk to whoever's interested.
Okay. Well, you heard that. Lastly, so sponsors, anyone interested in sponsoring your companies, I put Jason's email in the chat here, Jason@Code.Sip.Repeat.com. If you have any interest there, you can send them an email, and you all can talk further. And then in general, people want to support Code.Sip.Repeat, engage, connect with you on your socials, all that good stuff. How can people connect with Code.Sip.Repeat?
So on LinkedIn is LinkedIn/Code.Sip.Repeat. It's on Code.Sip.Repeat. It's the same for Facebook and Instagram. So Facebook.com/Code.Sip.Repeat. And then you can find all that information on Code.Sip.Repeat.com.
Okay. Let's drop down in the chat for people as well. Just so
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I copy it from the browser so it's clickable in the chat for those who trying to get to it. But thank you for sharing this information with us. At this time, I want to open the floor up to anyone in the audience who has questions or comments. I know Misha, I think you already addressed one of her questions. I think the follow-up question that was around, do you recommend software like Wix to code? But Misha, if you're in a position to speak, I'll let you come off mute and ask your own questions. So you can give it in your own words.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, so Jason, I know you and I have been kind of chatting outside of this, but Was just wondering, how you feel about using tools like Wix, to create, website applications versus actually going in and, learning the code from scratch.
Oh, that's a good question, man. Hey, Misha, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
Oh, good. So to answer your question, it depends on what the person is trying to do. Um, Wix for a learning tool, I wouldn't, because Wix is more of a drag and drop tool for building websites. So I wouldn't recommend it as a learning tool. But as far as just to accomplish a simple website or just pretty much a simple website, I would recommend Wix or either WordPress to build websites and to if you want just like landing pages and things of that nature. I think Wix would be a good tool.
Okay. And I also had another question I had posted in the chat was, would you consider having an event, kind of around the time we have the BDPA conference?
Sure, I would love to. But that's August next year, and that's a long time. But I would love to. That'll be awesome, and but sponsorships would greatly help that happen.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Thanks, Devin.
Thank you.
Thanks, Misha. I know Rosemary had a question in the chat as well, asking, do you have a link to your upcoming events?
I do. It's not live yet. I need to finalize a few details on it, Rosemary, but I'll get that to you. And do you have a Devin, you have what I'm looking for, email blast that you can send out to everybody?
Oh yeah, we can get something out to everyone.
Okay. So yeah, I'll get that link. It'll be ready by today.
Okay. All right, the floor is open. Anyone else on the call have any questions or comments for Jason? Not everybody at once.
Everybody's shy.
I do want to make sure no one's speaking on mute. I know we do that sometimes. Okay. Well, Jason, any last words you want to say to close us out, to put the cherry on top for today?
First off, I appreciate the opportunity to speak on career and tech talk, man. It's I've seen you do plenty of these, and I never thought I'd be on here, so it's an honor. Just grateful to be here. I look forward to seeing everybody at these Code.Sip.Repeats. And like I said, IT has soul, man. It's definitely a thing that we as minorities in tech have to continue to push and to make known is that we are here and we can make a difference in these spaces that have before been closed off to us. So and I'm just trying to do something different, trying to get people together and have fun and learn at the same time. So thank you, and God bless.
Thanks for sharing with us today, Jason. I've dropped the link in the chat for our bdpa.org/tech and career talks. So you'll be able to find the recording of this talk as well as all of our previous talks on that website. If you don't want to go there, you can also go to YouTube, look up National BDPA. That's our National BDPA YouTube channel. All of our tech and career talks are there as well. So like, subscribe, share, comment, click the link below, all that good stuff that all the influencers say these days, and share this with someone. I think this is a super dope, innovative event that's making the IT industry accessible to everyone. and making it fun. Jason, one clarifying thing, because I know we have drinks here. Is this exclusive to adults? Is it a 21 plus event, or do
We'll do
you
18 up.
18?
And I do plan in the future doing Code.Sip.Repeats for a younger audience that is not going to have alcohol, and it's going to be geared to kids, and it's going to be free and accessible. So that is in the plans for the organization as we continue to grow.
Good stuff.
I guess I
Well,
should have
thank
put
you
that out
again.
earlier.
Well, thank you again, Jason, for sharing with us. Love what you're doing here and excited to see how BDPA can help move it forward because the mission's definitely aligned. So looking forward to seeing where we go from here. Thank you to all of you for joining today. Thank you for watching. If you're checking this out on YouTube, and we'll catch you at the next one. I think our next talk is with Mr. Grady Crosby out of Milwaukee from man, I'm blanking on Grady's company. Is it Northwestern Mutual, Rosemary?
Yes, sir. That's
Yep.
correct.
Northwestern Mutual. So he's the VP of Enterprise, Environmental, Social, and Governance. I'm at Northwestern Mutual. So he'll be talking to us about that and the connection to data and IT. So we'll see you for our next Tech and Career Talk. I believe that's October 13th, but if I got the date wrong, kind of to my head, not my heart. The second Friday of October, we'll be here, same place, same time. So until then, y'all stay safe, stay blessed, and we'll see you next time.
All righty.